and 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're live. I'm Ron Jeremy from Patriot One TV. And I'm here today to talk about my friend M, Seeker of Truth, and his recent interview with Rice TVX. Make sure you click on the link below after watching this video and you go and see the full show. In that, they talk about UFOs. They also talk about Mandela effect. And in the Mandela effect, I've got one of those too. You know, before I swear I didn't have this little thing. This little thing here that wasn't there before. Whoa, spooky. But check out this little clip of the interview, and if you feel like doing so, go and watch the full show, clicking the link in the description, and then afterwards make sure you like, subscribe, and share that video.
People see here the American Pitbull in my name. I was given that nickname by Charlie Ward. I think he meant it as an insult for my relentlessness, my attacks on Howlett and him and company. And I moved on, just distancing myself because I said what I needed to say. After me and Ward's problems, I invited him on my channel again, and that's when he basically had given a loose threat of when he's talked about sending people to my home, which you had mentioned in your interview with Risk Flex.
2-year anniversary video, yeah, because obviously I reached two years, I think in August, a month ago, and I was going through all of my work so far to make this kind of montage video that you're playing at the moment. And and I realized as I was going through that, my first ever interview 2 years ago was with yourself and Stan.
Okay.
That was the first time I actually went on to someone else's channel, and they gave me a bit of a leg up. At that time, I was probably only 3,000, 4,000 subscribers or less than that. I can't remember, but that was all around the Greg Hallett stuff. You were interested.
There it is. Look, I'm in your montage.
That's the first interview that I did. So I appreciate you obviously for looking into. I mean, because most people wouldn't have touched me with a barge pole.
Well, that's why I did it, man. I really, I could see more than I was already looking beyond what you were doing with your content, which is the reason why I was suggesting kind of going outside of the grift busting element and just really letting your research shine. So where are you at now with your current research, and what are some of the other topics too that you're either looking into or that you have kind of covered that you feel like you found finality with?
Just as you started saying that, they showed a bit around Elvis. I did a piece on whether Elvis is still alive, pieces on my thoughts around UFOs or UAPs, and my experience in seeing one. I've done shows on lots of kind of different things. Yes, it's probably only 1 in 10 of my videos, and I think a lot of people that are subscribed to my channel want to see me busting grifters. There's a bit on the Mandela effect there.
Okay.
With the Monopoly guy, for instance, when people try to remember the Monopoly guy, they think of the top hat, they think of the the white moustache, the cane, the suit, and the monocle, right?
Yeah, but like the way you're describing it too also reminds me of the Planters peanut guy too.
Yeah, and lots of people. So some people have tried to use that as a reason why that would be the case. However, we don't have Planters peanut, or we didn't have Planters peanuts when I was a kid in the UK. So I would not make that mistake. But the Monopoly guy has apparently never had a monocle, and even his face looks naked there, doesn't it? It doesn't look right at all.
What about this one? M goes on an alien mothership. Can you tell me about this one? Did you go on to a spaceship, M, and didn't tell me about this and didn't give me an invitation?
I do what I do mainly because of mental health. That's why I started making the Greg Hallett videos, because people were being mentally affected as well as financially when they were giving money and they couldn't afford to. And from there, that's always been my driver. Mental health.
Are you concerned about his potential mental health problems, or even like?
Yes.
Charlie Ward's or Simon Parks, with his alien parents and all. I don't like
So
that's just a little too much for me.
I would bring them up. I'm human. I can be sympathetic to anyone, empathetic as well. If people like Charlie and Simon are experiencing mental health issues, of course, I'll be, I have so much sympathy and so much empathy. However, it's a different story talking about these people that are affecting many, 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 many lives and making money and profit off of that, to someone who may not be making any, or if not much, money off of believing in their reality. There's always a question of how much of the other foot is in that reality. Are they dipping their toe in there, but they really know they really know what reality is, but they like to live in that world a little bit, and what they like to share that world, and it's profitable, and they can tell these stories online, and people will follow them, and they can fool loads of people. But they really, where do you draw the line and say you're a grifter or you're mentally ill or both? And it's a very difficult thing to say, very difficult thing to put your finger on.
Right, but it's when they cause
to navigate those waters. So people have said to me, even with the TED interviews, "Oh, come on, man, he's not well." I investigated him. However, he was a lawyer for 9 years. He was a lawyer in the United States for 9 years. He sells courses. He sells courses that will take you on alien spaceships, that will heal you, this, that, and the other. He has a radio show, a quite successful one. So is he compos mentis? I mean, he's not out there. He's not out there.
It's that they're crossing the line of harming people, and if they're profiting off of trying to say that something that they're doing these courses or whatever the case might be are completely false, and they're leading people into a hopefulness and steering people in a wrong direction, just so they can profit, without putting like a disclaimer of this is for entertainment purposes only. Because I've even questioned that with a lot of people that I've talked to. Is this for entertainment purposes only? Because now here's the thing. This is the fine line. Somebody can be having extremely bad mental health problems, like to the degree that they definitely need help, possibly institution, whatever the case might be. But some of those individuals can also still be intelligent enough to take advantage of other people. And that's where they're crossing the line, regardless of their mental health problem or not. So when you're giving people false hope, if you're selling an alien course and you're letting people know that I cannot guarantee that everything that I'm saying in this is going to take place for you, but this is what's taking place for me. And if you want to take the time to pay for this information that I'm sharing with you, I cannot guarantee any results. But a lot of these so-called individuals are guaranteeing results. And now that's why I appreciate you doing that. Now, what do you think about the idea of extraterrestrials? Is it possible?
Of course, this is possible.
Because I think my dad was an alien. I'm sharing that for the first time with you here.
That's not sarcasm.
It's complete sarcasm. I speak it very well.
Reading you there. I thought, really?
I had to, man. So
breaking news: my dad's an alien. It's like, I need to introduce you to my old pal Simon Parks because his dad's a reptilian. But
that's exactly why I said all that. If you didn't catch it, so you should have caught it from the get-go. But all right, go ahead, man.
I'm a bit slow at times, but look, I think it's entirely possible. What do I think about extraterrestrial? I believe that a lot of the things that are seen in the skies are real. I believe that a lot of them are most likely man-made. The origin of that technology, I do wonder. They tend to look more into the past, but not only that, some of the people that have come forward to speak. I mean, the Canadian Defense Minister, a few years back, came forward and said that these things are real. The Pentagon made releases. what are the origins of all sort of mainstream religions, and they go back to these monotheistic religions. If you look before them, it goes back to the having multiple gods: the Greeks, the Vikings, the Egyptians, the Romans, on and on and on and on, all having all these multiple gods. Where do those stories originate from? The originator of all of that is some of the earliest civilizations, and particularly the Sumerians, where suddenly there was a boom and a wealth of information, technology, and understanding of astronomy, etc. When you look back at that, these kind of giants depicted in their statues and their art and things like that, and they talk about the Anunnaki, and there's stories about Enki and Enlil and the manipulation of DNA on the planet, from Anunnaki, I think loosely translates to those from which heavens come. These multiple gods, as humankind didn't know how to interpret these beings that came from the sky. All of these kind of this information or stories or interpretation of this information, however you want to look at it, is all very interesting and is quite deep when you look into it. You've got these statues of these giant guys with these weird kind of braided beards holding a lion as if it was a domestic cat. I mean, these guys were huge, and even in the Bible and other religious texts, which all seem to kind of intertwine with a lot of stories, like a great cataclysm, like the Great Flood, etc. There's lots of questions about how ancient structures have been built, and some of them with
I love this
stones
topic
that have been transported for miles and miles and miles, 30 miles or whatever, and the tonnage of these stones, would need hundreds of people.
Well, look at Stonehenge
as well. Yeah,
and that's in the UK. I mean, that's a good example. I mean, the pyramids. So, I mean, the idea, what you're talking about, and it fascinates me too.
Now, I like rice. I like it with all sorts of different types of food. I also like the Rice Channel. So, make sure you go and subscribe to Rice TV X. And until next time, you've been awesome.